Hi, this is Wendy Walker, and welcome to the second stop on the virtual book tour for the night before. Last week, we visited some of the real-life places that inspired many of the scenes in the novel. This week, we're going to take a closer look at the neighborhood where I grew up with my sister, and which provided so much of the material for the backstory of Laura and Rosie. This is the first novel where I have drawn so closely from my real life, and it was not my intention to do that. As I started to plot the novel, I knew I needed certain things for the backstory of the two sisters. First, I needed a place where Laura could grow up fierce and fearless, the way that she's described in the book. But I also needed a place where the grown-ups could have their own secrets inside the houses, and where the children could have a place where they had adventures and danger. The children needed to have their own secrets. So my sister and I grew up actually in this house. But what you can't see from the picture is that behind our house were 70 acres of land, with ponds that were big enough to skate on, and trails, and also raw woods and stone walls. It was a seminary back then. Now it's a wellness retreat, and it hasn't changed at all. This was our playground, where we had our adventures, our danger, and our secrets. I believe it's our siblings who hold our history, and that it's our history that makes us who we are today. So I made that true for Laura and Rosie. I asked my sister, Rebecca, who's just 13 months older than I am, to reflect with me on some of the adventures we had in our neighborhood, many of which are written into the novel.
Hi.
Hey!
How are you?
Good.
One of my greatest memories is you climbing the tree on our front yard.
God about that.
Yeah, because you were sort of the proverbial tomboy and fearless, absolutely fearless. And you went climbing up this pine tree in our front yard and just kept going and going and going. And then I was running in and I'm like, Mom, I'm like, Wendy's stuck in a tree.
Doing things like that made me feel like I had control. Like, okay, here's this tree and it's really tall and I'm going to climb to the top of it. And it's no like correlation to fixing anything in our actual lives, but I remember feeling like I had to get to the top of that tree. It was an imperative. But I remember being so high that I was taller than our house.
Yep.
And it was so thin at the top of that tree that it felt like it was starting to like just sway.
It was. You were like going like, we were like, I'm watching, I'm going, oh my God.
And I think I wrote this into the book too about the vampire.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
The vampire. And that's like a real story.
That's a real story. It really happened. And we didn't dream that.
We did not dream that. And I remember when we first saw that vampire guy walking on the wall, but at the end of like that lake.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all ran right back into the house. And you remember like going into the kitchen and Mom was busy doing whatever, cooking or whatever. And we were like, we didn't even tell her. We just started getting things from the kitchen. She's like, what are you looking for? We're like,
we need garlic. We had mirrors and we had like
mirrors. And Mom's like, what do you need the garlic for? And we're like, we're going to go kill a vampire. He's in the woods.
Then we remember going through and getting like all the, what was it? The skunk?
The skunk cabbage.
Skunk cabbage. Remember we used to like bring buckets and like go through. I mean, and it was really
we're looking for frogs.
Thick mud and disgusting stuff. I can't believe we walked through that stuff. Right. Well, we used to go skating out on that lake.
And God.
Like we would just go and like there were like no adults. No adults out there.
And you remember hearing like the
cracks. Right.
That reminds me also of when we almost burned the house down. Which is so interesting that of all of our memories, that's not the first one we came to this morning. Like that I was probably 13 or 12 and you were 13 or something like that. Because I was skating already. I came home from skating. I was in my skating dress still. And we decided to make fish and French fries, and we
Yep.
put 2 big pans with Crisco oil on high heat to heat up. And then we went down one flight of stairs. It was like a split level.
I can't remember what we were watching. We were watching some television show, and I remember I was doing the egg batter and the breading and stuff like that while we were watching. Came upstairs with the ready to put it in, and the whole wall
house was on the whole
of cupboards
it
was on fire.
But this is what's so interesting in hindsight is that your instinct was to save the house. So you went to the fire extinguisher on the wall.
Yeah.
You didn't know that it slid up and out of the holster.
No, I pulled the whole thing out.
Like all the plasters everywhere.
Everything's hanging.
The plasters flying. And you started putting the
it down. Yes.
And my instinct was, I'm getting the hell out of here. I went and started collecting all the valuables.
You grabbed your skates, you grabbed the dogs, and left.
I got the dogs out. I'm like, what do we got to get out of here?
And then you ran up to the Mokias. I think you ran up to the Mokias.
I did run up to get help. There was some method to my madness. I wasn't completely self-serving. That's where it's like you don't know what you don't know. We had no idea that oil could catch fire.
No, I didn't either. I do now.
I do. So when I was writing these 2 sisters, and I knew I wanted them to be on that street and in that kind of environment. And it was like inside the house was civilization, and outside the house it was like the Lord of the Flies. It was there was no supervision, and everybody's true personalities came out, and like the little devils and angels and whatever we were. When you think about all the personalities, like the bully that was on the street, it never occurred to us what was going on inside his house. I cannot picture any parents of any kids or any other grown-ups on that street. I have no visual memories of any grown-ups on the street. What are the things that you think you got from being in that kind of Lord of the Flies, environment?
It gives you a great sense of independence and a feeling of that you can survive and you can cope. That like kind of whatever gets thrown at you, you'll find your way out because you were in a swamp once with just your sister and some buckets. It's so we had all these adventures and things, and we really only had us kids to try to like sort through it and find our way to safety or protect each other. And so all of those things are life skills. Those are all things that help you in life. The downside, I guess, would be sometimes, at least I know for myself, I have a little bit of like an OCD element, of wanting to, stay control and be in control. And that may come from the fact that we had to try to, rein in chaos at times as kids, and you're not as equipped as a kid as you are as an adult.
So it was a strange juxtaposition of, we can survive anything, but the truth was that we really didn't have the skills and the knowledge to actually keep ourselves safe. And in some ways we are very lucky that we managed to survive that. Anyway, good times.
We had there's so many stories.
I hope you'll come back next week for the 3rd stop on the virtual book tour for the night before. I'm going to interview Dr. Judy Howe, who is a triple board certified neuropsychologist and also the author of an amazing book called Stop Self-Sabotage. We're going to talk about some of the real psychology